Hey everybody, welcome to You Have to Watch This podcast. I'm Alan.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Devon.
And today we are revisiting the 1980-something film Aliens, starring Sigourney Weaver, Newt, and directed by James Cameron.
Sigourney Weaver, that child actor, and the director.
Yeah.
Carrie Henn.
This is a film that Devon has never seen. This is a film that Ryan has already made me do for the podcast, but we're doing it again.
Doing it again.
So I'm here. Honestly, what I should have done is just had you two do the show on Tuesday and just not worry about it.
And we just chatted because you've already said your opinion.
Yeah, I already said my opinion. I actually have that episode up because I was curious about what else we talked about. I didn't listen
But
to
I want to hear what your opinion
is. But the description is Ryan has Alan watch Aliens for the first time and gives his thoughts. Plus, Ryan reviews the latest in the Alien franchise, Alien Covenant. And Alan tells the tale of a time he was tricked into going to the movies. Also,
wait, how did you get tricked into going to the movies?
I guess I'm going to tell that story again.
You better.
Also, Ryan shares his hatred for Nanny McPhee for some reason.
I went into a rant that episode about
What
Nanny
was
McPhee.
happening with Nanny McPhee?
I don't know.
I feel like she is a ripoff of Mary Poppins, and I absolutely hated the trailers because I hated the character because the makeup was horrible.
Yeah, but I think that's the point, right?
I don't care.
Fair.
So the story of when I was tricked into going to the movies was, I was in college. We had a evening class, and somebody who had a car was like, "Hey, we should all go to get dinner at like TGI Fridays." So they drove us all to TGI Fridays, and then we're at TGI Fridays, and like, "Oh, by the way, there's this movie called Piranha 3D that I kind of want to go see. Would you guys be interested?" And because they drove, we kind of are like, "Yeah, okay." Sure. And it was a good time. It was still Piranha 3D though. So
wasn't somebody like pretty good involved in Piranha 3D though?
The Piranhas?
No, there was the director's like pretty good.
James
right?
Well, I think the reason it came up on that the last time we did Aliens is because James Cameron directed one of the ones in the 80s or the 70s. He directed one.
Maybe that's what I was thinking of then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know anybody in this
No,
movie.
the 2010 Piranha 3D is not known as a classic.
Wait, but it's Christopher Lloyd and Richard Dreyfuss in it?
See, this is why I don't look at who's in movies and determine if it's good or not because of this. Because Devin, you'd be like, "Oh, these two were in this? I'm going to go see this. This is going to be good."
Devin, you just listed the best parts of that movie.
I'm sure. I mean, and I'm sure they're just sight gags.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would tell you what the Richard Dreyfuss thing is, but I kind of want you to look it up on YouTube after this.
Okay, I will.
If I told you, you'd be like, that's not what it is. But you just need to go in and watch it.
I'm going to have to then.
Because you'll get that reference.
I will. It's probably a Jaws thing. It has to be a Jaws thing.
Oh, it's definitely not him sitting in the middle of a lake in a boat singing "Show Me the Way to Go Home" while he's fishing and then gets eaten by piranhas. That's definitely not what happens.
Shit, I love that. I hope that's what it is. It's not him
now
with
I
mashed
need to
potatoes.
see this movie. I need to see this movie now.
That's the opening scene of the movie.
He makes a piranha out of mashed potatoes.
And then yeah. But yeah, so Aliens was Ryan's pick. So Ryan, I'm going to let you take a point on this. So take it away.
Okay. So let's see. You mentioned Sigourney Weaver, Newt, and the director, James Cameron. Now, also who's in it, one of my favorite actors, Bill Paxton, is in this. And this was the first movie that I was like, now I know who Bill Paxton is when I was younger. But anyway, besides that, the movie came out in 1987. The director's cut came out in 1991. Most people aren't aware that the version of the movie that they know is the director's cut, since that one gets the most play since they released that one.
What are the differences, if you don't mind? Because I don't actually know what version I watch now.
Okay, so when they were doing the sweep of the compound, when the Marines were there, did they or did they not go into a room with a hamster?
I think there was a room with a hamster. I think.
Okay, you saw the director's cut.
Okay, good. Okay, that makes me happy.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I remember that.
okay, so like I said, the version that a lot of people know nowadays is the director's cut, which I am happy about because it's the better version of it. Now, Devin, being that this is your first time seeing it, it was what 3 years ago, Alan, that we did this episode.
The episode was released on June 29th, 2017.
Okay,
Oh,
so
wow.
a while ago.
Yes.
So I'm gonna hold off on Alan for a second, but Devin, what did you think, especially after seeing the first one?
Well, here's the thing. I knew a little bit of what I was getting into with this one because I knew that this one was it wasn't as horror as the first one. I know like Alien 1 is a horror movie. I know that Alien 2 is an action movie. And I
Yes.
went into it expecting it to be an action movie, and I really liked it. I think that there were a couple of silly decisions people made just for the sake of action movie tropes, and I'll ask about a couple of them.
Okay.
But I think that in general, I thought it was a really good movie, and I think that I think it's hard to take a horror movie like Alien and expand on it and make it a successful other horror movie.
Yeah.
I think this was the only way that it could have gone and have been as successful, I think.
Okay.
And the little kid didn't annoy me. That was nice too. Newt was great.
Yeah, Newt is great in this. Now, Alan,
Yes.
did your opinion change at all?
I don't remember what my opinion was before.
So what is your opinion? So what is your...
I enjoyed it. It was nice. I remember the last time we did this back in 2017. I hadn't seen the original Alien for a while, so I was going into this kind of blind. But since we just did Alien like 2 months ago, that was still kind of fresh in my mind. So I was able to appreciate it a little bit more. Especially with like all the callbacks at the beginning where she's talking about what happened to them, and
Yeah.
I still enjoy it. It's a fun action movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess we will dive into the differences between the theatrical cut and the director's cut. Since Devin, you
please.
seem to be really interested in that. So
Yeah.
I'm only going to hit a few of the points. There's like 12 differences, believe it or not. But I'm not going to dive into all of them. So one of the big ones is, well, two of the big ones for me is the boardroom scene where they're doing her like corporate investigation about what
Yeah.
happened to her cargo ship. And then the second one is the room is the scene where the yes man, I forget the actor's name, the one that drags her to go along.
Paul Reiser.
yeah.
Yeah, Paul Reiser.
Paul Reiser.
Paul Reiser. Thank you. Paul shows up with that, Marine and convinces her to, try to come along. And they show her, apartment is kind of like, like she's not really keeping stuff clean. Like she's just kind of like using it as kind of just like, I guess I'm existing. The boardroom is longer compared to the theatrical cut. They go over a bit more about what happened in the first one. They make it more of a fact-finding than accusatory. If you watch the theatrical version, it kind of comes off that Wayland Corp is like, well, why did you do this? We don't believe you. You destroyed this ship. It cost, so much money. We're taking your license away. And then, one of my favorite lines is when Ripley says, did IQs drop suddenly when I was away? Because that one woman, said something. Like, that is the only accusatory part of that boardroom scene. In the version that you guys saw, compared to in the theatrical cut, they kind of make all of the questions more pointed and her more defensive.
No, I watched
Weird.
the theatrical cut.
Okay, yeah. Oh, okay, cool. Okay, good.
Oh, did you?
So
Yeah.
we've got that. So,
Oh.
I think I watched it on
Yeah.
IMDb TV, whatever they had.
okay.
Well, I mean, so I like that difference because I liked the boardroom scene a lot, especially for what it did. Because for some reason, I just really like the idea of like a spaceship company like just needing to like retain its assets,
Yeah.
and like that plot line comes up a couple times in the movie too. Like this, the stuff here is too valuable for us to do anything bad with. Like, and I think that was interesting. It was more of a fact finding thing, and I think if it was accusatory, it would have made me more mad about about their role in all of it.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, it was one of those things where you could see where James Cameron wanted it to go, as in they're just, making sure their assets are accounted for, where compared into the one that Alan possibly saw, it was more like, this is your fault. Why did you do this? We don't believe you.
Yeah, I don't love
Is
that.
how it kind of comes across. So, I mean, either way, it's corporate sleaze.
Right, right. Just which flavor of corporate sleaze are you getting?
Exactly. Alan, do you remember how you felt during that scene, or how you felt about them talking to her?
I just think like the whole thing with them accusing her of like not believing anything she has to say. Like, why else would she be stranded in the ship for 50 years after the fact? Like, if she wanted to just destroy the ship, she would have just destroyed the ship and then come home. It was not nothing she did on paper looks like it was done willingly. At least it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Like, it shouldn't look like espionage or sabotage or
Right.
anything like that. It should just look like something happened here. We need to get to the bottom of this. Why did you do this? Not like you did this. Blah 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 blah. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's an interesting way to look at it, though, especially because like you can tell. I think even in the version that I watched, the director's cut, like they didn't really believe about the alien part.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was just very much like, all right, like I guess this is how we're gonna close the case now.
Yeah, and especially you could tell that they had their minds already made up when that one board member said, it's like there are no terrestrial organisms on the we've surveyed 300 worlds. There's no organism that looks like this. We've had people on this planet. There are no terrestrial organisms. And then that's when Ripley says, is anybody listening to me? Did IQs drop suddenly when I was
Yeah.
away? And then the woman cuts her off and says, well, these are your words.
Yeah.
So she didn't care what the facts were. They were going to blame her for what happened and not, like write into the paperwork, oh, there's an unknown organism that attacked our crew. Now we have to watch out for every single outpost we have in the galaxy.
Well, and I like that because, like, thinking about it, it increases spending for them, and it increases inherent risk in what they'll have to pay the crews. And I don't know why I love the idea of space travel being a legitimate business that they have to earn money on. But
Yeah.
I feel like space travel in a lot of other sci-fi is literally just like, whatever, spend all the money. It's space, and the journey and exploration is worth the cost.
spare
Yeah.
no expense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
love that, like, the Weyland-Yutani Corps is like, no, we're turning a profit here.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons that I love this universe, this movie universe with Alien and Predators, because
Yeah.
the Weyland Corporation is a corporation, and they have to
Yeah.
turn a profit. And that's why you have a lot of characters in some of the movies talking about profit and loss and
Yeah.
all this other stuff. Now, the other scene of importance that was extended is when he shows up to try to get her to go along. In the original version, it's real short. It's like, hey, do you want to come along? She says no, and then they have a little spat, and he leaves his card, and she leaves.
Mm-hmm.
In the extended cut, there's a bit more conversation because she
Okay.
offers them something to drink. And in the theatrical cut, they don't really set up her feelings towards him, that she thinks he's a sleaze right away. I mean, if you know movies and you know how characters develop, you're gonna know that he's a sleaze. But if you don't, in the theatrical cut, I mean, in the special edition cut, they extend to where she gives him like a 3-second solid side glance after he says, oh no, this is just to, go. And then she's just looking at him, and you can tell that she's like, I don't like this guy. So
And the
they
side eye.
but they took that out for the theatrical cut to probably, I don't know, maybe they thought that people would know that he's a sleaze off the bat, or that they wanted his betrayal later in the movie to be more of a shock. I mean, I don't know. Whenever I see a corporate yes man in a movie that was made in the 80s, he's a
a bad
sleaze.
guy. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So Um, I know, I know that's a real short scene. So, what was your guys' feelings on that?
I like it because I like that it makes Ripley perceptive. Because I mean, I watched Alien, right? I don't know much about Ripley as a human being aside from like she was good at her job on the original ship. She survived. She cares about a cat. Like she's a caring person and she's a survivor. But I don't know much about her as a person, like whether she's perceptive of like the outside world. And I feel like this did a good job of showing us like, okay, she can read humans as well as she can read like a hallway filled with aliens. Like I don't
Yeah.
know, it makes her like more of a real like realistic, rounded character. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I I mean Paul Reiser, regardless of which version you're watching, you can tell that he's just a sleazebag.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And then his character too is no,
In his free time.
yeah, no, like he's so unlikable from the beginning, especially in like that first dream sequence that she has. Like you can tell that he's just I
Gross.
you just don't trust him. Like he's just untrustworthy. I found it interesting. They only call the company in this. Like it's not Wayland's.
Right.
They just say the
Yeah.
company.
Well, I feel like that. I feel when it comes to the way people talk in slang, Wayland Corporation, or just saying Wayland, if you have like the grunt work, which is the cargo freighters, calling the company, I feel like detaches them from the stuff they don't like about their employer.
Yeah, that makes sense though.
I feel like
Okay.
that's kind of why they do that a little bit. But yeah, no, that's something that when I was younger and I'd watch other movies and I'd be flipping through the channels and it would be like, oh, it's the Thursday night movie on, TNT or something.
Yeah.
And somebody would reference to call something the company. I thought I was watching Aliens, and then 10 seconds later I realized I'm not watching a sci-fi movie, so it's not Aliens. So like I linked the company to the Aliens movies when I was younger before I could, like watch a second of video and, nail the movie that I like.
Yeah, right. It's interesting though.
Yeah, and so there's other scenes that they expanded in the film. And I mentioned one that they cut about them finding the hamster, which is
Yeah.
when the Marines are on the surface, they're using the motion detectors, and they find motion, and he busts into the kid's room, and there's a hamster in its
Yep.
cage. And I feel like I feel like the theatrical version, because I watched both versions today.
I'm so proud of you, Ryan.
I watched both versions
That
today.
makes me happy.
And I really don't like the fact that they cut that specific scene from the theatrical version because you're from the moment they land or drop from the ship, it's stressful, anxiety all the way down. They get to the compound, they're doing their searching, and there's no let up, there's no humor in it to kind of like, help you catch your breath. That hamster scene does, because they're all nervous and panicky and bust into the room with their guns, and it's just a hamster on its wheel.
Yeah.
But there are two deleted scenes. One at the beginning where they actually show the compound, the families in the
Oh.
compound.
Oh,
So
wow.
what they do is after the boardroom scene, and then after the scene where Ripley this is another deleted scene. Ripley goes into a monologue about her daughter,
Really?
and the sleaze shows her a picture of her because he found her, and
Yeah.
they have this conversation about how like she promised her daughter she'd be home for her 11th birthday, and
Yeah.
Ripley got back like 2 years after she died of
Right.
of age-related complications. So there's that whole scene that they cut, which again, character development, kind of shows you more about who she is. But then they cut to where they cut back to the outpost. The guy, the guy that's running the place calls over somebody else and says, "Hey, we haven't heard from this family," which is the family at the beginning of the movie, that
Yeah.
finds the spaceship. We haven't heard from them. We need to send somebody out to find them. And they show a kid on a big wheel, and mid '80s big wheel, rolling around a hallway that's under construction and getting yelled at by the construction workers. And it's this whole spat between coworkers about, I'm not going to ask why, because it's going to take 2 weeks to get an answer, and they're going to say, don't ask. So why am I going to ask why we're doing this? You know, like that whole thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I mean, there's that. Do you
That
feel
one I feel
like
like didn't need to be in the movie. I feel like that one
Yeah.
I could have like I understand wanting more time on the ground with the people in the colony.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna do that, make it more meaningful. Because I feel like I
Yeah.
got everything from the colony I needed to with them finding the spaceship. I'm
Yeah.
a little bit mad about the Sigourney Weaver monologue about her daughter leaving or being cut though.
Yeah.
Because, like, give me more Ripley. I like Ripley a lot. She's why I watched this movie. The Marines were fine. You know, the androids are fine. The aliens are fine. I'll take Ripley, please.
Okay.
Is that how you guys feel? Like, is that
I
your
think-
favorite part of it?
I think that definitely plays into her relationship with Newt later on in the film, and I think
Yeah.
that character growth should have been there. That connection should not have been cut. So I agree with Devon.
And that, yeah, I mean, that's the same way I feel about it too. And the thing with like the showing the families on the surface, like I like it simply because they show a kid on a big wheel on a planetary surface that's not Earth, way in the
Sure.
future, getting yelled at by construction workers. We're rolling down a hall. And that the only thing I think that scene does is kind of show you, like, when you get to the carnage when the Marines get there, it kind of shows you how, you know, it shows you what the hallways looked like before. You know, everything
Like
was
the contrast. Yeah.
But all of the other changes in the film are kind of just nuance.
Oh, sure.
They're just tiny differences here and there. You know, a few lines given here, an extra 10 seconds, you know, here. So, you know, it's really nothing that big. But staying on Ripley, did you guys, Devon, did you catch what her first name is? Because
No.
if you
I
did
totally
see
missed
the
it.
director's cut, Ellen.
It's Ellen Ripley.
Yeah.
No, I did catch that.
Okay.
Now that
Alan,
you said that, it sounds familiar.
did you watch the director's cut the first time we did this?
I think
Or
I did.
Did you?
I think I did watch the
Okay.
director's cut the first time.
Okay. Because it's real quick. It's when Hicks
I think
they exchange first names.
I think the first time
Oh,
I
yeah.
watched this, I borrowed it from you. So whatever you gave it to me on is what I watched.
And I think I told you to select the director's cut
Yeah.
Yeah.
when we did it. Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
right. Because we
yeah.
had this big thing about how I don't like how I don't really like director's cuts because I always go with the first version of the movie that I saw, and I first saw this after 1991 when they released the director's cut. So I saw this first as that.
I think I would have been mad if I saw the theatrical cut, or at least knowing what I know now, I would have been mad if I saw the theatrical cut because it looks like I got some good stuff. In
Yeah,
the
no,
director's cut.
Yeah, no, you definitely did. So I mean, I don't know why they cut the whole like first name thing, you know, because that was building a relationship that James Cameron wanted
Yeah.
for her and Hicks going forward in Aliens 3 that he didn't get to be a part of, which we will talk about that when we get to Aliens 3.
Okay, good, because I now really want to watch Aliens 3 because I'm hashtag invested.
So I am glad you brought up Aliens 3. Before we watch it, I'm going to listen to the audio play of the unproduced screenplay that they made.
You should.
I don't know what
you
that
should.
is. Do you know what it's about?
I'm not going to go in the details, but there's something that happens at the beginning of Alien 3 that upsets a lot of the fan base
Yes.
that the original screenplay did not contain. And
Is it that they didn't call it Thraliens instead of Aliens 3?
I'm so glad you went with that. We're not going to talk about
Yeah,
this
we're not gonna
anymore
talk
because
about
I
it
want
anymore.
Devon to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, great.
I'm so happy that was the question you asked because
Yeah,
I
it was a dumb
sweating
joke.
over here.
It wasn't a real thing.
In the original screenplay, Richard Dreyfuss is on a boat fishing in the middle of a lake.
Excuse you, a space boat. He's on a space boat.
Yeah.
Okay.
So hold on. Speaking
Okay.
of these three movies, which one is your guys' favorite? Is this your favorite? I was thinking about that, like, at the end when, like, when, like, Ripley's chasing down Mama Alien. Like, I was thinking, like, is this their favorite of them? Is this my favorite of them?
Okay, so I'm going to give you two answers.
Okay.
Here is my deep pull fandom answer.
Yes.
I like Alien 4, and I can never remember the pronunciation of the word, so I always call it Alien 4.
Resurrection.
Resurrection.
Predator. I think you mean versus Predator.
What?
That's 5. That's 5.
Is that really 5?
That's 5. Yeah,
Oh.
it's 5. The reason why I
Release
like
wise, like it gets
Yeah.
really confusing with Prometheus and Alien Covenant
right.
and all of
Yeah.
those.
But the reason why it's Resurrection is because Devon, you said that like the first one's a comedy, the second
Yeah.
one's an action film.
Yeah.
Here's how it goes. Alien is horror,
Yeah.
straight up horror. Aliens is an action film. It's an
Right.
80s action film. Aliens 3 is a drama
Interesting.
that has elements of the other two in it. And Alien Resurrection's a comedy.
Is it?
They didn't mean it to be a comedy. They didn't
It
mean
just
it.
is a comedy.
It just is a comedy.
It was let me double check on this. Yeah, it was written by Joss Whedon
What?
and released in it was written before. It was written by Buffy the Vampire Slayer era Joss Whedon.
Yes, it was.
Who let that happen?
Fox.
I don't.
Fox.
Yeah.
Ooh. I don't know
So-
if I would want that.
No. What it is, it's just you put it on, you strap yourself in, and you just let it take you.
Good.
It's one of those kind of movies.
To be fair, if we wanted to be reductive about this one, we'd be like, the guy that did Titanic also did an Alien movie? And I'd be like,
Yeah.
gross! So, like, I get it.
But my standard answer for like other people, like not just for myself, but like like based on like how the movie actually is,
Yeah.
like watchability, is Aliens 3.
Okay, got it. So I still have some good coming up. Like, I didn't,
Oh, yeah, you
it
do.
didn't peak here.
No, as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't peak yet.
Alan, what do you think?
Out of the original Alien franchise, I've only seen 1 and 2.
Which one is your favorite then? Because we're in the same boat now.
I'm not a big horror fan, so I'm leaning towards Aliens.
Okay.
This one.
Okay. I think I'm leaning towards number 1, but I did really like this movie. I think it's not like if I was thinking about Terminator in the context of this too. I think Terminator 2 is almost in every way better than the first one. Like, I think only like the like nuance of like, not nuance, but like the first time of like, oh, Arnold Schwarzenegger's a bad guy and he's killing people. Like, that one's lost in the second one, but fine, it doesn't need it to keep being good. I like creepy space horror a lot. That might be my like weird subgenre I love. And it had it. This definitely had it. And I think it was really clever how they added creepy space horror to this. But it was just different.
Yeah, and that's something that they expanded on in the director's cut.
Yeah.
Is the studio took it and they cut it to be an action film.
Yeah.
When James Cameron knew that if he was going to make a sequel to Alien, it needed to have horror elements to go with the action movie he wanted to make.
Yeah.
And
Devin,
the studio saw it and said, no, action film, we're going to cut all of this.
Devin, have you ever heard the story about how James Cameron got the job directing this film?
No. What happened?
So he went. The story goes, James Cameron walked in to a executive meeting with the people at Fox who control Alien. In this boardroom, there is a board that says Alien on it.
Okay.
James Cameron takes a marker, adds an S to the end, and walks out and got the job.
Didn't he put like the
Oh, and he made it a dollar
didn't he
sign.
yeah, that's it. He made the
Did
S a
he-
dollar sign.
Did he do one of these with a marker? Did he like do like a mic drop with a marker when he was done?
He's not a millennial. He's not a millennial.
He was the first millennial.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man, that's so funny.
Yeah.
I believe it. I really do.
Yeah, so but yeah, so you guys are in the same boat. I'm going to continue writing this out until we've seen every single movie inside this universe.
Not mad.
Except for Alien versus Predator, we're not going to do that one. So
No, I've seen that one.
Why not?
Yeah.
The,
Because if we do that one, we have to do Requiem.
Okay.
The second
I've never
one
seen
that comes
Requiem. I'm not
after
mad.
it.
I've never seen
Yeah.
Requiem.
I've never seen
Okay.
Requiem either.
Fine, I will have you guys suffer with me through that one.
But I think we all seen Alien versus Predator.
I think we have. I think we all
Yeah.
have.
I think we'd skip it.
So we
'Cause-
can skip
yeah.
that one and go right to we can
Maybe
go to Requiem then.
maybe that'll be one of
What?
our live streams that we do with people. Like just everyone.
Oh,
tune in
that
and
would be
watch.
cool.
That would be fun because
Yeah.
believe me, it needs a good roast.
All I remember from is just my enemy is my friend, and I'm like, all right, got it. Stop.
Yeah, no, that's it's more than that, but I'm not gonna get into that. Anyway, but yeah, so one of the big things about this movie when I was a kid is the Marines. This is what got me into the film as a kid. What did you guys think of the Space Marines with Bill Paxton?
You can
Game
go ahead
over,
first,
man.
Alan.
Game over.
In his really bad blue, like barbed wire necklace tattoo.
So I read something that was interesting to me about how they filmed it. They filmed the whole movie, and then the last scene they filmed was the introduction of the Marines, so they all had like
that's
this
neat.
experience of being their characters and going through this whole ordeal together. So they'd have that camaraderie. I really like that dynamic. That they really felt like a unit and played off each other very well. And I liked the team aspect of that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it worked because when they get up out of stasis, they're the closest thing I can relate to the way they act towards each other is like a high school sports team.
Yeah.
And that's the imagery I get when they're waking up out of stasis, the way that they're ragging on each other. You know, because, I mean, it's a very out-of-date, not the best, like, insult to make. But, like, Bill Paxton tells the one Marine, "Have you ever been confused for a man?" And she looks back at him and says, "Have you?" It still makes me laugh. And
It's just stuff like that, yeah.
It's an extremely out-of-date joke, you know, but, I mean... At the same time, like, it's stuff like that that you would get on, like, a high school football team with people yelling at each other, or, like, a baseball team, or for me, a rifle team. Like, I was on a legit competitive rifle team where we shot against other schools' rifle teams in competitive shooting. So, you know, I mean, like, we would talk like that to each other on the bus. So,
Yeah, I don't know if the marching band was that catty with each other, but I definitely understand what you mean.
I think there were times.
I mean, we had our moments.
Yeah, we definitely made fun of each other.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's just what you do in high school.
We definitely made fun
Well-
of the football team.
Oh, yeah. It's easy to do.
Yeah.
I think that's...
Ryan, you don't understand, though. Our football team did not... Devon, when did they win a game? Like,
We had the
For
second
you?
longest losing streak in all of Pennsylvania history.
yeah.
Our chance
because,
for
I mean,
yeah.
you're pulling from, like, okay, so my high school football team wasn't that good. I mean, I think there were 2 years where we were, like, really, really good. I think we were competing for states one year and then they lost.
Wow.
But, like, my high school graduating class was just shy of 960 kids.
Wow.
And the lower grades, which we had 4, were larger than us. So we had that big of a pool to pull talent from. The high school my wife went to, which was the second high school in the school district, her graduating class had upward of 1,500.
Oh, wow.
if not more. I think it was closer to 2,000. I think at one point. So again, the classes under that were bigger than that.
Right.
They went to states and won states. I think in like 2008 or 2009, 2007, one of those times. But they had a larger base to pull from for talent.
Sure.
You guys went to Big Springs, right?
Big
My
Spring.
graduating class was 200.
Yeah.
And yours, Alan?
I don't give a shit.
Okay, so I'm going to say roughly
208.
around 200.
Yeah.
That would be why you guys had a football team that had the longest losing streak, because you guys had practically no talent pool to pull from.
And you know, and as an adult, I do give a lot of respect, or do have a lot of respect for the football team, just doing their best every single game. Because
Yeah.
they did, and that's so disheartening. Like, and like, especially if you have these like shitty band nerds on the side, like 0-10 once again, like doing stuff like that, like, and still showing up to every game and still putting forth all that effort. Like, good for them.
Well, that's how the rifle team I was on was. Like,
Yeah.
we out of 15, 14 matches we did a year, I think we only would win one or two a school year.
Oh wow.
So we'd go like 2 wins and 12 losses because we'd shoot against other schools that were in the Poconos. Like, these kids were hunters.
Oh yeah.
Or, you know, either that, they did NRA competitive youth shooting. So they had $4,000 or $5,000 rifles that they used for NRA competitions at 500 yards, not 50 feet.
Wow.
So,
Good for
I
them.
mean, it's whatever.
So to pivot really hard back to your question, speaking of 2 wins and 12 losses, I guess the Marines in this movie. Look at that. I like them a lot. I got a little bit of a Starship Troopers vibe from them, and probably
yeah.
just because Space Marines.
Yeah.
But I like them. I mean, I thought they were fun, and you're right. Like they make themselves immediately likable with the whole like with their banter, with like the way they interact with each other, and it does seem like they have this history together, and I love that. I really do.
Yeah. Well, I think for me as a kid, it started off with their sergeant going, "I love the Corps." Every morning's like waking up on the farm. every meal is a banquet, and he goes on, and that's just I laugh at that every time because like you've got all of these like, you know, Marines waking up being very groggy because they've been under stasis, and the first thing he does after he opens up his eyes and looks around is he puts a stogie in his mouth.
Well, I
The
feel like
very
he had
first
it
thing
with
he
him.
does.
Like,
He
it was,
did.
like,
He had it in the stasis chamber.
So happy. You know, my favorite thing about that is I'm a board game nerd. I don't know if you knew that about me. They just released an Aliens theme board game, and it's called Aliens: Another Glorious Day in the Corps.
Yes.
And
Good.
I love that title. Like this movie made me understand why that title is so great.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Now, I just want to talk about Bill Paxton here. What did you guys think about his character and how he played it out?
I mean, I thought he was fine. I don't have a lot of feedback for him, unfortunately. I liked him in
That's
Twister.
okay.
He was fine in Twister.
I like how on edge he is throughout the whole thing. Like, game over, man. And like
Yeah.
he's like the first one to be like jumping out of his boots. Like, I really like his reactions to everything.
To me, as an example for that, the first thing they show, because he's doing the banter thing with, with them, but then they get to like breakfast or lunch, dinner, whatever time it is that they woke up out of stasis. They get Bishop to do the thing with the knife.
Oh yeah.
And then the one guy comes over and forces his hand down, and Bishop does it to him. And it shows his character so well that he's so much of a loudmouth and a joker, but as soon as anything goes against him, he starts to panic and cry. And that's exactly what happened, because he wants Bishop to do the thing because it's so cool, and he knows Bishop won't miss. But then when it's done to him, he's, his eyes are wide and he's yelling at the top of his lungs.
Yeah, that is I didn't think about that. That's a really effective character introduction. I like that.
Yeah, because And then, like, after that, like, his hand shaking, and
Mm.
I think somebody says something, and then he looks back up and says, "Yeah, man, well, it didn't happen to you." Yeah, no, I don't know why. I think it's because he was used for comic relief when I was a kid. Like, I gravitated towards the Marines when I first saw this movie, and then I gravitated towards his character because he was so much of a loudmouth.
Sure.
And then it was shortly after I saw Twister. And then that's when I made the connection of I saw him in Twister. I'm like, oh, he's the guy from Aliens. But he was being a legit person
Right.
in Twister. So, like, this was my introduction to him. And then so my question to you guys is there an actor who's not really like an A-list actor that like you first noticed them on like a side role before you saw them in like a main role? I know
Yes.
that's kind of a really niche question.
No.
but-
I absolutely, and I'm looking up his name because I'm mad I don't know it offhand.
Because I definitely wouldn't say that Bill Paxton was an A-list actor, because I mean Twister was good, but it didn't make him like Tom Cruise or anything.
Oh, where are we here?
Mine's a
Oh,
bit.
mine.
Go
Go
ahead,
ahead.
Devin. No, you go ahead, Devin.
Mine is 112% Phil Hartman.
Okay.
Because Phil Hartman for me is always just this like really funny side character from like Jingle All the Way. And just like, I don't know, he's so good as like a side character. He played with Dan Anchorman in Animaniacs too,
Yeah.
which like I just love. And then it's just, I just like seeing him in.
Not to mention The Simpsons.
Yeah, he's in The Simpsons a lot.
Yeah, he's
he's-
Troy McClure.
Troy McClure,
Hi,
yeah.
I'm Troy McClure. He's Lyle Lanley. A town with money is a little bit like a mule with a spinning wheel. Damned if he knows how to use it, and damned if he knows how to. He got it.
He's one of those people that like I'll watch. I think he's so great, and I just noticed him from side roles first.
Yeah. Okay.
For me, this is a weird one, but Michael Madsen,
Okay.
Madsden, he was the dad in Free Willy, like the guy who like takes in this kid whose mom abandoned him and is like, you got to go clean up the graffiti at the whale exhibit. And then
Oddly specific
and then
chore.
like years later, I see Reservoir Dogs, and he's just like dancing around with his gas can and like murdering.
It is him. Oh man,
I was like, oh, okay,
That is an excellent turnaround.
Yeah.
That
he's
is
taking a
amazing.
yeah.
that's a
Just-
good call. That's
yeah.
a real good call.
Like I kind of want to take Free Willy and like a scene with him and just put Stuck in the Middle with You over it instead, and then do the opposite. Reservoir Dogs, put Michael Jackson over that.
When he's cutting the ear off.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
Will you be there?
That's amazing.
I love that.
Okay. So yeah. Sorry. That I'm just imagining that in my head, and that just
That's-
sidetracked me there.
I will make
Okay.
it happen.
You need to know.
That's excellent. I really want to see that cut. I really want to see that.
So Ryan, I had a question for you specifically.
Yeah, go
you.
ahead.
I watched Aliens. Obviously, that's why we're talking.
Yeah.
Is this specifically the scene at the end? Okay, I have two questions about the scene at the end, right, where they run into Alien's mom. I have three questions where they run into Alien Mom.
Okay.
First question is this where they made is this where the reference to how Slurm is made comes from?
Yeah. Yeah, to a point.
Okay, because like
Yeah.
like the mechanism in that tail thing looked really familiar, and I was like, Slurm?
Yeah. They also showed that same mechanism in Alien versus Predator.
Oh, okay, I don't remember that.
The conveyor belt with the eggs, where they
Yeah.
shock the queen, and then
Uh-huh.
she plops the eggs out, and it goes on the conveyor belt then
Oh.
up into the slots on the
Oh, that's
tables.
almost exactly then Slurm.
Yeah, no, it is, and I'm not. I've seen all these movies more than 20 times.
Okay,
I've seen
got it.
all the. So yeah, that to me, I've always assumed that what it was, but I still have a sneaking suspicion that there's something else involved there too. That it's two
Sure.
references in one.
Mm.
But that's half of it. Yes.
Okay, real quick, Ryan, what do you have behind you? Because I think we need to show the chat that.
Oh,
Well,
we
I don't have
definitely
it
do.
behind me. I had it behind me. Or are they asking about my cats?
No, no one's asking about it.
Okay, the cat pillows. So I moved it before,
okay.
right before we started. But this will kind of show you how much of how much of an Alien fan I am. This is a ceramic xenomorph egg that is a cookie jar. It is extremely veiny.
Vacuous.
But
Oh, and
the
it's got a
top,
thing on
it's
top.
got a face hugger on the top because it's open, and that's the lid. And then to prove that it is a cookie jar.
I was really hoping something was gonna pop out. Like,
Right. I'm sad you don't keep like one of those pop out snakes in it. Oh, weird.
I about fainted because it was amazing.
It's a good gift. It's a good gift.
It's actually one of the knick-knack things that we always have on display, and then depending on the time of year, it's sitting as the centerpiece on our dining room table.
That's when I saw it. It's centerpiece on dining room table, which makes me very happy.
yeah.
So yeah, there's that, and I had more Alien toys growing up than I did, I think, anything else. Did you guys have
that's
any?
Cool. No, I
Did you guys have
any.
any? Okay, so when this movie came out, they did not make any toys for like mass-produced toys for the first one like they did the second one.
Mm-hmm.
They even made aliens that they only had in concept art.
Oh,
that they
that's
sold.
cool.
So they had the mother, the queen alien, where on the back part of the crown there was a little air pump thing like you had on your shoes back in the 90s, and you'd pump the little air thing in the back of the head, and the inner mouth would shoot out and then suck
That's
back
cool.
in. There was that. I had I had her. I had a few of the normal xenomorph aliens, and then the one from the, and then I had one from the concept art, which was a bull, and it had a little trigger on its back. It was a xenomorph, but it was on all fours instead of it being able to rear up on two like the other ones. It was on all four, and you could pull the little thing on its spine, and its head would shoot out like that much.
Yeah.
And it had horns you could like rotate on it.
That's really cool.
And when I was on staff at a Boy Scout camp, when I was 18, when the kids would go into the dining hall, they could pick up a little token out of a basket, and then they would put it on the table, and then us as staff members would have to go in and find our token, and that's where we'd sit for that meal. So that the kids could choose what staff member they wanted to have, their meal with.
Yeah.
And mine was that alien.
I like that.
So I talked aliens with kids during during Boy Scout summer camp at almost every meal, because they were like, "What is this thing?" I'm like, "You guys never seen aliens? Talk to your parents first before you see it." But
They're like, Ryan,
you
we're
want to make
8.
sure. Yes. Well, I mean, technically speaking, you have to be 11 years old to be a Boy Scout, so they were all teenagers. But
Gotcha.
still, it's Boy Scouts. You never know how strict the parents can be.
Right.
So, there's that.
I never had a toy of Alien. The only childhood memory or analog I have for this was a game my dad used to play with us, and I'm not sure how this got started, but he would just go, "Ah, it's the face hugger from Alien," and then he'd grab us by the face. And he would just do that.
How would that? Okay, so that's what the game was. He would
The
just
game
walk by you and go face hugger and just grab your face.
No, it was always the face hugger from Alien, and then grab our face.
That's like a weird
Every
version of
time.
the claw from Liar Liar.
It
Kind
is.
of though. Yeah, that's what that was.
I'm going to try that with my niece this week.
You need to.
So, and actually, speaking of toys, Alan got me, and this is one I never had as a kid, and I always wanted it, and Alan got it for me. It's the power suit that Ripley was in.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, but the toy has a little rocket launcher on it, so, you pull up the back and you could shoot a little missile that was on, a spring on it. I mean, the toys always did stupid stuff like that, where they always put a missile on something that didn't have a missile. Be like, oh, look, a notebook with a missile.
All right, so this is actually a plot point that I wanted to bring up because I kept wondering if I missed something.
Okay.
Did all right, Ripley's with Mother Alien, right?
Yeah.
Mama Alien other aliens are coming around her. Ripley, like, spends time she doesn't really have, like, torching eggs in a facility that's going to blow up. And then she leaves. If she didn't do that and didn't torch the eggs and just let Mama Alien think she was just leaving, Mama Alien wouldn't have gross detached herself and chased her, right? Like, the whole end part is Ripley's fault, isn't it? Or did I miss something?
Okay, so I'm going to bring up an analogy using Independence Day.
Good.
Okay?
Okay.
Why turn one dangerous falling object into many? If she doesn't destroy those eggs, she's not just going to have the Mama Alien after her, because Mama Alien wasn't attacking because she was holding a flamethrower to the eggs. Mm-hmm. That's why she wasn't attacking. The reason why Ripley did it anyway was because, same reason why I would do it, I'd rather be wanting to run away from one charging bull as opposed to one charging bull and a bunch of hyenas being the face huggers.
Fair. Very fair.
The Mufasa method.
There you go. So brought up 2 movies here to do this.
Yeah, all right. That's a good point. Because the whole time I'm like, they're gonna blow up in like 8 minutes anyway. Like, just go.
That's how I always took that scene. Was that one? She was using the threat of burning the eggs, to get out of the room, so that the Queen would let them get to the door, and then she eventually did it anyway, because she didn't want to have to just outrun the leftover xenomorphs and the Queen. She didn't want to have to contend with outrunning facehuggers too.
Sure. Yeah, because that makes sense.
Because if you remember Alien vs. Predators, which you've only seen once, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, only once.
And Alan, you've only seen it once too?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Okay. They do that in that movie where they have the facehuggers on free roam because more eggs pop up in that sacrificial room than there are people. So there are facehuggers that are like free roaming the temple, and those suckers are fast.
Ew.
Like, I'm talking like, you know how fast spiders can move, and like those really quick lightning ones with the legs that you like to find on apartment walls.
Ew. Yeah. Ew.
Like double the size to a facehugger, and then double the speed, and that's how fast these things can move.
Don't like it all. No thanks.
So Yep.
No. Don't want to picture that. Nope. Sorry.
It's like what's the hand in Addams Family?
It? No. Cousin It? No. Thing.
Thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Cousin It's the one with the hair.
Yeah.
Right.
The murmur.
All right, we're getting to the point we need to wrap this up. Anything else we want to talk about with?
I'm at the point, Devon. Do you have any other questions about things you had about the film, little quirks you wanted to try to get straightened out?
Last one, and I don't know. I want to know if this was a product of the extended director's cut, the director's cut that I watched.
Okay.
When Mama Alien was gross detaching herself from, like, I don't know, Slurm Tube, was that shortened in the theatrical cut, and I just got like the extra long take of that? Because like,
no,
they really milk that scene. They're like
that is meant to be disgusting.
Okay, yeah, it was.
It's such a big reveal of the Queen, like it's meant to be dramatic. Like you just follow that tube up, and then you see this giant xenomorph just hovering above her.
Cool model. I really liked that model too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the only thing they do with the Queen in the extended cut is the scene with Bishop, where they are discussing about the like genetics of the aliens. Bishop makes the comment of like them being like a hive creature.
Yeah.
And then Bill Paxton's like, you mean like ants? And then somebody's making fun of him for like saying ants. And then they're using like the bees, almost like a bee and analogies. So in the director's cut, they build up to a Queen. In the theatrical version, they don't mention the Queen until
like Queen shows up.
Yeah.
Got it. I was happy Milk Robots made a return though. I just love milk robots every time.
As far as I'm concerned, this is the same universe as Blade Runner.
I think it's supposed to be.
It is.
Yeah.
No,
Some
don't
people
think they've
still
ever-
dispute it.
they've never come out and said it, but
Yeah.
But I think Wayland Yutani's in the Blade Runner series.
Yeah. I mean, there are still some hardcore fans you'll find in forums that dispute that claim because I don't know which is whatever, but I still believe that they are, and I love the fact that they got the actor to play Bishop. I mean, Bishop is a character that I could have gone on for hours about, but I don't want to, simply because we don't have that much time. But
I mean, we're gonna have to chat about Bishop a bit later then.
They did a perfect casting for Bishop, and they couldn't have done a better job doing a yin and yang between Ash and Bishop, between Alien and Aliens. And that's one of the reasons why I like it so much. But,
Yeah, I can agree with that, because I don't know, I'm with you. I thought he was a good character. I thought he was well cast. I had to bring him up in some capacity. That's all I got.
Okay.
And I'm good here, so.
Yeah.
All right. That's about all I've got, too. So, next week it is my turn to pick the film, and we'll be back on Tuesdays. Not this coming Tuesday, but the first Tuesday in August. I can't believe it's August already, guys.
It's ridiculous.
Or it's
Don't
going
do
to
that
be.
to me.
So on August 3rd, we'll get together and talk about the, what year was it? 2015, I think? Yeah, the 2015 film that stars, let me look up the cast here. Captain Marvel, the Ancient One, and Jimmy Woo.
What is this?
This film is 2015's Trainwreck, directed by Judd Apatow and starring Amy Schumer and Bill Hader. And the Suicide Squad's John Cena.
Oh, that's fun.
So this was like John Cena's first comedic role. So I really want to, this is what made me be like, this guy needs to be in something big, like a Suicide Squad. So we're going to talk about that. And I think I'm going to have you guys watch the unrated version if you can find it.
Okay.
I've seen the rated version, so I'm kind of prepared to see what the hell the unrated version's going to be.
So yeah, you can tune in for that. Devon, you're going to be streaming this week some games and stuff, right?
Yeah. So we're doing, again, Monday, Friday. We are continuing on the quest for Rick. The quest for Rick, in case you were wondering, will end by the time I do my next pick. So next Tuesday. Next Tuesday's it. Yeah, because then I'm going to do another game leading up to my next pick.
Okay.
So this is it. This is the last week I have to get him.
Well, you can always do an extra stream on Tuesday.
I might. We'll see. But yeah, I have 1 week to get him, guys. This is coming down to the wire because I'm still pretty far.
I mean, if you don't get him...
Can you buy the skin?
No.
Oh,
I mean,
sucks.
you can.
You can buy levels to get to the skin.
Yeah.
But I won't. I'm doing it the right way, Ryan.
Yeah.
I'm putting in the work.
There's no such thing in gaming as the right way. You do it for the way that you want to have fun.
I'm putting in the work because I need to.
Well, make sure
Video games are about having fun. If you want the skin, buy the levels. So then, for the rest of your life, you can play as that character. If that's what'll make you happy.
I appreciate you letting me take the easy way, but I'm not letting you do it.
It's not the easy way. It's just having fun.
So, if you missed it, it's not live on our Twitch channel anymore, and we never streamed it to Facebook. If you go to our YouTube channel, which I just put in the description here, or in the chat, you can listen to Devon and I's review for Space Jam: A New Legacy. And it will also be on our podcast feed here after we get offline. I need to upload it yet. But you can go to our YouTube channel and check out our review for that. Ryan missed out on the glory that is Space Jam 2.
Oh, boy.
LeBron James.
Yeah. LeBron James.
Good.
But you can check that out. It's a YouTube. It's on our YouTube channel exclusively right now. It will be on our podcast feed. So make sure to find us on all major podcasting platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Amazon Music. We're everywhere you can listen to podcasts. While you're over on our YouTube channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, follow us on TikTok. We need to start doing more TikToks.
Oh, yeah.
I do have a fun one that I need to edit together that Devon and I did the other night during our Fortnite stream.
Good.
But yeah, other than that, join us next Tuesday for Trainwreck. For You Have to Watch This Podcast, I'm Alan.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Devin.
And get away from her, you bitch. We'll see you
God,
next
I love
time.
that scene. Oh my god. It was so
I
good.
I guess you didn't like the cornbread either.
Good.